Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to give you 10 things that you need to do before the end of the year. So let's get started. Number one is you need to find out where you are. So this involves doing a money check-in, a financial check-in, and just checking where you are. So you can check on your savings, your investments, and any debt that you may have. So this is just checking what's happening, what's up, seeing what's up. So you can do this by going onto all of your accounts online. Also, you might, if you have a budget tracking app, if you have some kind of tracker, then you can check on there. It should tell you this information. So we're just trying to get all of this information together so we know where we are. So like I said before, if you have a planner or an app that keeps you on track, maybe you just have a spreadsheet, then check it and record the information in whichever system you use. But the idea here is we're just finding out where we are, checking how much we have in our savings account, how much we have in our investments account, and what amount of debt we have if we have any. So we're just really checking in and just finding out where we are before we start this new year. Number two is to reflect on your accomplishments of the year and celebrate them. So if you made a list of goals at the beginning of the year, the idea here is to check in with those goals and check if you actually were able to achieve them. And if you were, then really reward yourself and celebrate achieving those goals. And if there were any that you didn't quite manage to achieve this year, then that's okay. Just record those and you can set those as goals next year, or perhaps you might need to alter them and make them a little bit more in line with your lifestyle. So hold on to those and we'll have a look at those later in the video. It's great to reward yourself for the goals that you've met and make a plan for any goals that you haven't achieved this year. And remember to be kind to yourself. You're doing great. The fact that you've made it through the year is an accomplishment in itself. So anything else on top of that is a bonus. Goals. Number three is to make your goals for next year. So you might have 3 key goals that you want to achieve in this year, which is great. Or you might prefer to break down your goals into categories. So these categories may be things such as personal or wellness goals. You may have financial goals. You may have relationship goals. You may have career goals. So those might be your 4 categories that you break your goals down into. And then in those categories, you might have up to 3 goals in those categories. So you can use those categories to break down your goals and also give you a list of things that you want to achieve this year. Also, remember to add steps in on how you will actually attain those goals, because sometimes if you don't actually break them down, they can seem unattainable on their own. So for example, say you decide that in the whole year you want to invest, say it's £2,000. So work out how much will that be? How much do I need to invest each month to invest £1,000 overall? So that will actually breaks down as £166 per month. So once you've broken that down into a monthly amount, then you can actually think about where's this money going to come from on a month-to-month basis. And you might decide that it might be money that you would otherwise put into your savings account, or it might be money that you actually want to earn from a side hustle or a part-time job. So you can actually break it down in that way and figure out where the money's coming from. And by breaking it down, you're actually making it more manageable and more achievable. So it's a really good step to actually take to break down your goals, and it will help you achieve them better. Number 4 is to look back at this year's spending. So here you need to look back at the spending that you've actually done in the past year. So you can look at this on a month by month basis, and it may seem like a pretty arduous task, but it's actually really going to help you because it will help you identify areas where you may have been overspending. And then when you go on to next year's budget, you can think about, oh, perhaps I might need to increase that element of my budget for next year. Or you might just decide, actually, you've just overspent and you need to actually cut down in that area. So if you have a budget tracker or an app or a spreadsheet that you use, then you can go into that, go on there and check out what your spending's been, and then you can identify those good areas and those bad areas of your spending in the past year. Okay then, so now we're on to number 5, which is to make a new budget. So here you're going to want to roll over your budget from last year, so whether that's in a spreadsheet or another app that you use to budget, then what you need to do is roll over that budget, put it into the new year, and then from what we did in the last part where you assessed your spending in the last year, that can help you decide if you need to increase some spending in some categories or decrease the spending in some categories within your new year budget. Also, remember to add in any new categories that you might need for this year. So perhaps if you've got a holiday coming up and you need to add that into your budget, into your savings plan, then remember to do that. And likewise, if there are any categories that you need to remove that you don't need in your budget anymore, then remember to do that as well. If you identified in the last part any areas where you had been overspending, then just check in on those areas and see if you actually need to increase your budget in those areas, or if in actual fact you just want to try and limit your spending and keep it within your budget. Number 6 is to do something that your future self will thank you for. So this could be anything from opening an investment account, or getting a weekly cleaner to come and clean your house, or setting up grocery delivery. On this channel, I talk about all things personal finance, so I recommend that you do any of these that will save you some money or some time. If you have been putting off investing for some time, then there's really no better time than the present to get started and get your money in the market. So in order to do this, I'd recommend that first things first, you open an investment account. So I'd recommend a tax efficient account such as an ISA or a Roth IRA. Then when you have your account open, you need to put some money into the account. Then once you've done that, you need to choose your investments. So you can spend some time choosing your investments. Then once you've chosen your investments, your money can get to work. That was a very quick summary, so if you want a more in-depth guide, then check out my other investing videos. Number 7 is to cut out one purchase that you were planning to buy but you don't really need. So this could be something such as an expensive item of clothing, a new watch or a new handbag. So here you can decide that you actually don't need the item. That would be the ideal situation. Or even better, you might decide you've actually got something similar already, so it means you don't need to buy it and you've actually got an alternative item. Or you might decide to buy something that's cheaper, but it's still a similar item, but often you can get it without the high price tag and you can still get something similar. But the idea here is that you're cutting out an especially big purchase that you don't really need. If you still feel like you need this thing, then I would recommend looking for a cheaper dupe elsewhere. For example, if you had your heart set on a new designer handbag or a new designer watch, then check out if there's a dupe anywhere else, because you might often find it for a very cheap price and it won't be exactly the same, but it might look decent and you might be able to actually get the same amount of wear out of it but without the high price tag. Number 8 is to find room in next year's budget for a hobby, travel or experience. So this is going to be something that you can look forward to and that will bring you joy. It might be something that you've always wanted to do. And the way that you can achieve this goal is that you can actually set aside a small amount of money each month in a separate savings pot that you can define as, for example, a certain holiday. And then you can save towards it each month and you've got this lovely thing to look forward to. These kinds of memories are priceless, and if you can do it using credit card points or air miles, then even better. Number 9 is to clear out old stuff from a cupboard or room. So what you need to do here is go delving deep into one of your big old storage cupboards or an old storage room where you keep lots of old things. So go into these places and have a good old rummage around, have a good old tidy up. So that will actually give you the satisfaction of tidying things up and clearing things out. And if you find any good pieces in there, then you can always sell these items online on a marketplace such as eBay or an app like Vinted or Depop or Poshmark. So if you've got some quality items, you might sell them on there. Or if you'd prefer to donate these items, you can donate them and take them to a charity shop. So it's really great because you're clearing out all of these old items and you're making way for the new year. Number 10 is to set yourself up for next year by adding important dates to your calendar. So these important dates will include things like birthdays, weddings, any special events that you've got coming up during the year. So this will put you into a great space to start the new year, knowing that you're not going to miss anything from your diary and you've got everything in there. You can have reminders set up and you'll be ready to go straight into the new year. Those were 10 things that you need to do before the end of the year. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a like if you did, and now you can go through the list and check off the items as you do them. See you next time.